John?
No.
How many extra pens? Mine just died.
All right, you're on.
Good evening. We're going to call to order the Special Contact Committee for 2/23/2026. Committee members are Cheryl Ramos, Tom Simlink, and alternate is Brian Sears, and everybody is here today. We have two orders of business this evening, both liquor license. The first one is a liquor license request for, it's a new liquor license request for Wallerbees LLC, doing business as Toasted on the Square, 101 West High Avenue. I believe that's the old art store there in the corner, correct?
Right, it's painted gray.
Yes, yep. So that's a brand new one. We have obviously nothing to go against that one and no complaints on that one. So do we have any motion for that and to put that on to vote for today?
I have a question.
Sure.
Is the toasted on the square, which is exactly what we need, people toasted on the square, right? Is that going to be a
No,
meadery?
Mr. Chairman, if I could,
Yeah.
after you're done.
Yeah,
Is that going to be a meadery, since it's bees and meaderies made from honey?
I'm gonna guess Ron's gonna answer that for us.
What it is, it's part of, oh geez, Rod's
Rod's
Donuts.
Donuts.
Rod's
And
done.
Dave's Bread is what it's part of.
Okay.
What was the first thing you said?
Rod's
Rod's
Donuts.
Donut Shop.
Oh, okay.
So they're gonna serve food
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
have a liquor license?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the same ownership?
Yes, same ownership, yep.
From what we understand, it's gonna be like grab and go. Grab and go.
Sandwiches and everything.
Sandwiches and things like that.
Almost like, Smith's is what I was told, like over in Dover there, where you grab sandwiches, salads, something like that. So, and they thought with the events, from what I was told, they might, try to do something with Dora.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think that, sure, you know, obviously, that's not gonna be their bread and butter, alcohol, by no means.
Right.
I mean, I don't know too many people that go in and grab a donut in the morning and grab a, you know, Yingling Light or anything like that. So I think that they're just gonna be set up for the Dora, when there's an event type thing down there. I mean, look where they're at.
Yeah,
The quadrant's right there.
Yep.
The pavilion's right there. So, probably any smart business person would try to capitalize on that. You know what I mean? Especially when you're a small business and they're trying to start up
Yep.
another branch of what you have that's successful in your store or whatever. So,
They'll take advantage of the outdoor seating that'll be in that quadrant.
sure, they're gonna try to get some people to go in there, grab their stuff, dine out there.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
Yes.
100%.
absolutely.
So, but that's just a overview of what they're trying to do.
Appreciate that, sir.
You're welcome.
Anything on this one?
You didn't uncover anything unsavory about their operation.
So do we want to put this on for a vote, for full council vote this evening?
I would
Oh,
move
we
to do
need the
that.
voice vote.
Voice vote
Okay.
for, on the council meeting though, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, we need
Or no means yes.
committee,
special contact.
yep,
Yeah.
yep,
The old dreaded no means yes.
yes.
Yes means no.
Do I have a second on that
Put
one?
that, write it on a whiteboard.
I'll second it. So we'll put that on tonight, for, voice vote during, my committee report. The second one we have, is a liquor license transfer. Bell Stores, they bought the drive-through down at McCully Drive. Well, they have also bought the South Side drive-through by the Bell Stores right next to it. So they are just operating those now. So this is just the transfer of the license from DAMO LLC Southside Drive-Through to Bell Stores 1176 Drive-Through. So it's just a transfer. Do we have any questions or comments on that one?
Yep, we don't know anything about them.
Okay.
No complaints.
Can I get a motion?
I'll give
to
you the
put
motion.
All right, then I have a second on that one.
I'll second that.
All right, so we'll put that on the agenda for my committee report for a voice vote also. Is there anything else to come before this committee this evening? Hearing nothing, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So
Done.
Okay, it's 6:15 and calling the zoning annexation committee to order. And roll call, myself, I'm here, and committee members Dan Lanzer and Tom Simlick are here, and alternate Mike Walker. The purpose of our meeting tonight is to discuss a request for an honorary street sign recognizing the New Philadelphia VFW Post 145 100th anniversary, and any other matter that would come before the committee. Council Crime Bell made this request, and I believe everybody on council got a copy of his email, and administration. And the VFW has suggested a name for the honorary street sign. Now, we were sent legislation which will change depending on the name that we decide on. But I would like to, since Mr. Crime Bell is here and he suggested the honorary street sign, I would like you to say anything you have to say.
So, I sent the email and hopefully you guys all got to read it. But they're celebrating their 100th year on May 3rd. Hopefully I got that date right. I've been talking to them for several months about this idea of what can we do as a city to honor them. And so we came up with this idea, which I know I sent the email out to show the one that Ron had shared with me that we already have up in town. As an example, it's a brown sign, so it does not get confused with the green street signs. It's not changing the street sign, which when I originally talked to Ron and the mayor, that causes a lot more impact to permanently change a street sign, and they suggested this honorary sign doing it this way. So that's why I made the recommendation. VFW has been a tremendous partner with our city. And as I mentioned in my email, they gave over $500,000 last year, just last year, to there was a bunch of different things listed in there, but I know me personally, on my soccer project, they gave me significant money for that. They've helped with the baseball fields, wrestling match. This is just the New Philly School Sports, like that doesn't even involve all the stuff they've done for veterans as well. They helped, I think, with the sign for the police department, then the lighted sign. I mean, it just goes on and on and on, the things they've done for our community. And like I said, that's just last year, doesn't include the 99 years prior. So I think it's something that I have passion for, obviously. It also kind of just a respect for the veterans as well. And I didn't even mention the cemetery. They did that there too. I forgot about that. So just the countless things they've done for our community and will continue to do. And this is just a little, I think, a very, very little token to show our appreciation for them. The idea they came up for the sign was for it to say Veterans Way. And then we got different things we can do above it, depending on how we want to design that. And, whether it says VFW 1445 or it says honorary, whatever we want to do that way as a group. But they did suggest Veterans Way for that. So my thought was to put VFW 1445 a little bit smaller above it. We only got so much room. I want to make sure you can
We
see
have
it.
some
But she
different
has some
mock-ups
samples,
here
yeah.
that
So I think Cheryl has some
the street
samples.
department would, whatever they can do.
Yeah, and this would be a sign that we made, the street department made.
Correct, yes,
But-
we have the ability to do.
But that's the short version.
Okay.
If anybody listening out there wants the email, they can contact me and I can send more information about them. So, but that's the short version. I'll send it back to you, Cheryl.
And also, I believe you emailed everybody just a sample of what it would look
I
like
sent to one that was.
under Jim Locker
yes.
Lane.
Yep.
So it would be similar to that, and, so we do have some mock-ups, which I can give Ron.
Oh, and it was on the corner of 4th Street and Minnick. I didn't mention that.
Yeah.
So it'd be the right there where you turn down on 4th Street, so it'd be a good spot to be able to see it.
So, they chose that name, and the legislation we got, would have to change it, just the name, yes?
Address that. Before we leave here, I want to get specifics. I put one in there just as a placeholder because I wasn't sure. because I got something from Chris and Chairperson Ramos thought it would look nice with just the stars and Veterans Way. So I said, well, until we know what the committee's pleasure is, I'm just gonna leave that as a placeholder. And then I would also, I'd like for you guys to nail down, do you want VFW 1445 on it? Do you wanna keep the stars? Do you want Veterans Way to be capitalized?
Yeah, it's whatever I think Ron's department can do, whatever they can do.
Well, I would say,
Down there.
I'm gonna have to lean on Chris. I don't wanna touch that without Chris saying that it's blessed by the Genovese.
Yep.
And I'll just address what you had talked about already, Chris. That's why I didn't say anything in email, because I wanted to say publicly, what the Genovese and the VFW, I guess, have done. Again, this is a small part of what they do to veterans every single day. But I can tell you from the city point, the ball fields on the south side, all the ones at the waterworks in our top field would not be, and would not have been able to play it on last year without what they have done. They come in, they buy all the crushed brick for every one of those fields. Before, when you had Councilman Pace here and said, man, that got rained out up in Stark County, and we brought 46 teams down here. We wouldn't have brought 4 teams down here if it wouldn't have been for VFW, the Genovese, and everything. Back to the Veterans Memorial down there. We was in charge of putting the concrete in, they purchased the stone, and we was gonna do the landscape. Jerry's like, hey, I got a gal that does all of ours, can we do it? Well, yeah, right? So it saved us some more money. So, I mean, again, the veterans is their mission, and this is a small part of what they give back to just the locals here. Again, I know what they've done for you down there, and I just know that our fields, 100%, we know the way the finances is, they would not look like this at all without the VFW and the Genovese. That's it.
So, what I kind of, part of what I hear you saying, you would like the Shinneberries
Would it-
to decide on the design?
So would it be okay if I, take a few of the samples of the VFW, we bring it back the next council meeting? If everybody's okay with the idea, then we can suspend the rules.
I don't think it's a question of,
Yeah, so it's just really what it's gonna
We just have to
say.
change the legislation to say the name, is that
Right.
Why don't you
correct?
guys determine
And we
how
can do
you
that
want it
tonight.
worded and how you want it done?
I think we leave it up to whoever the VFW.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
take that to Jerry and the guys and,
Well, DV's who I've been working with too over there, and, but it's,
or Steve,
yeah,
okay.
Steve Russell and Steve
Yep,
Shevin.
that's right,
DV,
that's right.
And then he can
so-
let you know what the street department needs to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so tonight,
Well, I don't know that until 2 weeks from now anyway, so we'll be okay with
Okay.
that.
But to get it by May 3rd, Ron, as long as we.
Oh, yeah.
We okay it now and just be whatever they come
yeah,
up
just
with.
be between.
Yeah, if you wanna do
those
that,
guys.
if that's your will too.
Yeah.
If you guys draw on something and everybody says, hey, blessings, I can
think
have it made.
The guys at the city and the director will know what they want more than
Right,
I would.
right.
So,
I can do it, yeah, if you guys run that final draft through everybody and everybody gives it this, I'll make it, yeah, we'll get it made. It's probably sooner the better anyways, cause they got all the painting that starts as soon as the weather breaks, so that's fine.
So, I'm thinking, we'll let you guys take care of that, the design or whatever. We just tonight need to put the Veterans Way name in here,
Well,
correct?
I think we should probably wait until they
I
sign
don't
off.
think you do
on what it is.
anything right now.
So I can put in there specifically what it's gotta say.
Yeah.
And then we can bring it back the next regular
Yeah.
schedule.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to echo what the service director said. I was heavily involved in Little League down there. We would get one rain, a bad rain on one day, and it would cancel games for the rest of the week. It was so bad. Isn't that right? And
Yep.
now we get heavy rain and we play in the afternoon.
And what I think a lot of folks forget about that is too, saved us on Diamond Dry, that we was out there hitting the fields with to try to get the play. And sometimes we'd be out there trying to scrape mud around and broom water off of those things that had our manpower that's not needed now. And the drainage is amazing through that stuff.
Yeah, it used to
So
be
it's
awful.
cut down on not just manpower doing alone the fields.
It used to be terrible down there.
oh, yes,
I think, for the second meeting in April, we ought to do a proclamation for him, honor him for 100 years. I don't know if
Yes.
we could do the sign, but I think a proclamation would really great for those guys.
And I
Wanna
don't know
do
if you
that,
plan
well,
and-
yeah, I don't run them, but you wanna do that one, like give them the sign or something, have it there,
Well-
have them come up?
That's, I didn't know what,
Do a proclamation for their anniversary
Yes.
and then show them the sign.
yeah. So, I mean, we could even do, I mean, if you wanted to schedule an unveiling, maybe you could do it for May first on the Friday before.
I was
Something
gonna,
like that,
I was
too.
gonna mention that, when we did lockers, we had it wrapped, and then we pulled it,
Yeah, we had an
and the
unveiling
family was
ceremony.
there.
Yeah.
So we had the family here
Yeah, they
to
came.
present them with the sign.
Yeah,
Okay,
And we probably should do the same thing, and if you would, Councilman Prime, you'll get me information, so we can write a proclamation for it.
absolutely. Yep.
Thank you.
So, as far as this committee, we're gonna schedule another meeting when you get, and have the design and get the right name? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, so
Okay,
seven
so
fifteen the next,
April 13th at 7:15.
and that'll be enough time?
Yeah, because I'm thinking that, and don't let me paint you in a corner, Chris, but I'm thinking you're gonna run out there and get something, get it to everybody, and get it okayed, and before April 13th, I could have it made if you know something by the 4th or 1st.
Yeah, yeah, I'll hope to have it this week.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I could do that, Cheryl.
Okay. So, any other comments from council? Administration? I think we've heard from administration. Public? Okay. All right, that's what we'll do. I don't need a motion. I'll just hold this until the next meeting, which would be April 13th at 7:15. And let me know what name they decide on,
all right, perfect, we'll do.
and we'll get that legislation corrected. Okay? All right, any other business to come before the committee? Okay, a motion to adjourn.
You're really good.
You can do
Thank
that.
you. It is 6:30. I'm going to call this meeting of the New Philadelphia City Council Finance Committee to order. Looking in the room, I see that Mr. Crimebo is here, Mr. Lancer is here, our alternate Mrs. Ramos is here, so we do have our full committee here in place. I'd like to thank you all for coming tonight. A point of clarification, as I looked at the agenda, I did not notice our ordinance for the allocations. Was that 2026?
I believe it was.
As a part, and we did vote at our last meeting to
Yes.
have that on the agenda tonight.
Yeah, it's 3.
So do we need to add that?
We did.
If you passed it out of committee, it should already be on.
We passed it out of committee.
Yes, that was
Yeah.
my
Okay.
mistake. I did not
Okay.
put it on the agenda.
I noticed it wasn't on there,
Yes, I'm
too late
sorry.
to fix it, but I wanted to
Yeah.
make sure we have that for tonight. So we don't need to act on that right now. So what we're going to discuss is ordinance 5/2026, which is our ordinance to make appropriations for the current fiscal year, our permanent appropriations bill. This is what we discussed last Tuesday, I believe it was. The week's all running into one day, so who knows? Where we asked the auditor to make some changes. I've given you a summary of those changes that she made to the budget that we looked over that night. So we have attached to the back is basically your summary by account rather than the line item by line item of what we are proposing as a permanent appropriations budget for this year, for 2026. So I would open the floor to any committee members first who have any questions about this. I think it reflects the changes that we discussed last week when we met regarding, we added the 40,000 back into master capital for the street equipment. We moved the 70,000 out of the line items in the police budget and put it into the master capital for a new cruiser. We did the reduction from 45 to 35,000 for our professional services in the human resources department. And you can see there the CLOCS fund changes that were made, as well as some other minor tweaks in the police budget. So if you have any questions at this time, I'm sure the auditor is ready to answer anything that I can't.
Auditor, did you confirm, for the police and fire, because I know Chief Paris said that how many firefighters and police fighters were in there, and you were saying, I didn't think there was any in there, just to confirm that, what's in the budget right now?
I have not confirmed that with our department.
I can, what was originally budgeted in the fire department was 3, 2 in the police department, and then the second round of reductions, we cut a firefighter and we cut a police officer. So that left a total of 2 firefighters in the budget and 1 police officer.
But
I spoke
those-
to the auditor this morning. It was my understanding that those were still in the budget. I don't know if they were moved or not, so.
Okay, so
and
that's what was said
Yeah.
last Tuesday out there, so.
Yeah,
fine.
certainly, I'm
The
prepared to
chiefs,
address
yep.
that in my report tonight. I mean, but ultimately, yes, I mean, when you look at the fire department, there's 5 open spots, and then the police department, there's 2. So it's a total of 7, but what ultimately ended up in the final budget that we submitted
It's 1 and 2.
was 1 and 2.
Yeah, and the question was whether those numbers were in your budget, and you're saying they were.
I submitted
Yeah,
them in the budget.
what you
yes.
submitted.
And I spoke with Debbie Flood Proctor when the temporary budget came out, and those 3 had left. I confirmed with Debbie that they were in the budget. That's the only confirmation I have when I spoke with Debbie. I think I have an email that validates that.
I just want to add that we can only confirm the wage amount. We can't just anticipate what the in-charge pay or any of the extras are. We can only confirm the wage amounts.
Right.
So I can address that. Once again, working with Debbie Flood, which if those of you had the opportunity to work with her, does a great job. She was able to provide us the actual report that actually lines up everything from wages to in-charge pay to overtime to medical costs to uniform allowance. She gave me a great report that honestly,
It's all in there.
I look forward to having that at the beginning of the budget process next year, which make my life easier. So when you take the total cost, which factors in health insurance and all that, you can take what the average cost of a firefighter and police officer is, and we allocated using that of the cost of the firefighters and the police officers in that budget. So it did take into account those additional benefits.
So it was full vote.
As you know, overtime obviously is an unknown. I'll address that also later. Obviously, we'll expect an increase in overtime, but, you know, we can take the average of what the 3-year run rate is and make an estimate, a prediction of what that's going to cost is the best guess I can do on overtime.
But adding those two firefighters should help with the overtime a little bit, maybe. I mean, I know it's gonna be down, but it's gonna be up anyways.
No, appreciate the question. I think, you know, in meeting with the mayor and looking through the evaluation of what we need to do or should do, when you look at where we're at being down 5, you made a comment actually a few council meetings ago, which I appreciate. At some point, there's a break even based on the bargaining unit and the contract where overtime you know, starts to run into a cost. I think not hiring the 2, that will get us into a spot where it's gonna go the other way. 2 is a budget neutral, not budget neutral, I mean, the wrong word.
It's not
but,
ideal.
2 will actually be cheaper than not hiring. When you look at what the run rate will be if we don't replace the 2 and the total overtime cost, even with the benefits and the rates that we talked about, and you
3
run
would get
that
us
out.
ahead, but 2 would get us even, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and I'll address that also along with some other issues that I have. But my calculations and working with that, the fire department, I feel 2 is the number. Because if we don't go 2, it's gonna probably end up costing an additional probably, don't hold me to numbers, $120,000 to $140,000 when you run that out for a year period. So
Plus-
prorated, obviously, we're in March, you know.
Plus more tired firemen.
Certainly gonna have an impact on personnel, yeah.
Kevin, I don't want you to have to jump ahead, but is there something that could potentially be in your speech later that would impact how the finance committee handles this, our decision in the next hour?
You know what, I'm comfortable with this jumping ahead if you.
I don't,
if you
I'm just
excuse me
asking
if-
that question because I would hate for us to
Yeah.
Right.
take
No.
action not knowing something
I
that's
appreciate
gonna
that,
come
so
up later.
if the council president will allow me, I'll just kind of give my report now, and happy not to have to repeat it, but refer back to it.
You can just say ditto when
You
you're
know,
done
so
going.
ultimately, I was gonna spend the
Yeah,
evening,
You carved out an hour,
yeah,
so.
talking about, I appreciated the conversation that took place in our previous council meeting. I think that was good discussion. I think there's a lot more of those discussions we need to have as an organization because the healthy conflict is good and we need to have those to resolve. I wanted to address a few of those issues that came up that I didn't get the opportunity to do. I certainly want to echo some of the comments and frustrations about the budgeting process. I've had the opportunity to do budgets for about 20 years. I have found this probably the most challenging and complicated and that could be because it's municipal government, but it was hard. You know, the inability to have a clear picture of our financial position, numbers to budget off of and work from is a challenge. Not only a challenge to, you know, complete a budget, but also it creates a challenge to operate a department, to try to be fiscally responsible, steward the taxpayer dollars. You have to be able to have financial numbers to do that. Now, I'm not sitting here pointing the finger just at the auditor. You know, when you look at leading indicators versus lagging indicators, you know, that makes a significant difference. You know, financial reports are simply that. They're a lagging indicator. They show what happened last month. If you don't have processes in place that can help you look at leading where you're going to be and where you think you're going to be, it makes it hard to manage from that perspective. So I'll work with, and I have worked with the both chiefs. We're working on leading indicators and indicators, working with Debbie to get reports that will help us be proactive and not just respond to what's happened the past 30 days, but try to predict where we're going to be in 30 or 60 days ahead. So I echo that. I certainly hope that the budget's done by November of next year, December of next year. You know, typically in the budgeting process, that's when it is completed. Going into March and not having the transparency and the picture you need, it creates a lot of challenges. I know I'm preaching to the choir here because you have to pass the budget. But when you're giving tight timelines and ambiguity of the numbers you need to cut, it makes it very challenging. So one of the other things that I appreciate the comments was, you know, come forward about cuts the administration had put forward or had lacked or not put forward. And I've spoke with a couple councilmen after that, and I appreciate their perspective, and I actually respect that. But I want to at least walk you through the process that I took and, you know, and how we approached the budget. So when the budget originally came out, we were asked to put the temporary budget in. The auditor had asked, hey, listen, here's the impact of the bargaining units. And we were able to take those dollars and figure out what those costs are going to be. And the ask was to to try to cover those benefits. And so we went through that process with the police and fire department both. As I mentioned in previous reports, the results of that was a $171,000 reduction in the police department that actually got us to net neutral. We were able to cover that cost in the police department. In the fire department, we made $172,000 cuts. Now, we did not get to net neutral, so there's a benefit that, we didn't get down to the zero to cover 100% of those cuts, for full disclosure. And so when we submitted our first budget, we did actually go through and make some cuts to our operating cost centers. I know there's a lot of conversation always around benefits and HR. I can't control that. My chiefs can't control that. So when I submitted our operating budget, yes, it was without the healthcare cost. It was without. I don't have knowledge to that. I don't know what the premiums are going to be, nor do my department heads. And typically where I come from, that's usually handled in other departments. So that's something I'm unfamiliar with. Usually provided to us by HR or finance of like, hey, here's where the healthcare premiums go. Here's what the Medicare taxes are. Once again, I'm going to comment on Debbie Flood. She's able to give us a great report that moving forward will make certainly our lives much better as we move forward. So last council meeting, you shared those that there was frustration that we did not put some cuts forward. I assure you in our temporary budget for the safety forces, we did. Last council meeting, the conversation prior to that, I asked the auditor for some additional numbers to give me some allocated revenue. We continue to hear we need to cut, we need to cut. The question I kept asking, okay, how much do I need to cut? I need to have a target. I need to know where to go with this. Is it $10 or is it $10 million? So ultimately, there were some difficulties getting those numbers. I'm not placing blame or criticism, but until last Monday night, I did not have any numbers. She provided me some numbers. There was perception of what I thought were the allocated numbers for this fiscal year. Learned on Friday they were allocated numbers for last year. So that week, we made reductions again to the safety forces budget based on the numbers I was provided. In that week, we cut an additional $263,500 out of the police department budget. That it did include one full-time FTE. When you look at the report that Debbie Flood provides us, and you look at the average cost of a police officer, it's around $150,000, give or take, with the overtime averages all in. Then we cut an additional $185,000 out of the fire department budget, which included one FTE and other areas of maintenance and preventative maintenance and service. So we made those reductions to those two FTEs, which left the two in the budget that I recommend that we hire, because I think fiscally, number one, it's the smart thing to do, but operationally, number two, we are going to have impacts, and I'll speak to those here in a moment. So when you look at the total combined cuts on our revised budget, it was $792,000 that we removed from the safety forces budget. As a result of that, we obviously have 7 open positions you heard Councilman Kreinbill refer to. Two of those were in 2025, were reduced from the fire department, so that's an additional $300,000. When you look at the 2025-6 budget periods and total reductions, I come up with I'm going to call it $1.1 million that's been reduced out of the safety forces budget. Going to fully acknowledge that, number one, there's contract and bargaining agreements you need to do, take the 6% or average 6%, bump that up. I'm going to say $100,000 comes out, that's still about a $900,000 cut out of the safety forces, which is now having impact on our service. That's what we did on the second round of that. Obviously, being down FTEs is going to have, at some point, an operational impact. And I certainly am committed, and as I talked to the mayor today, to be a steward of the taxpayer dollars. I also have to be a steward of the safety forces to protect the citizens of the city and their property. And most importantly to me, also my officers and firefighters, to make sure they have the tools, the training, the education, and the manpower to operate safely. So I am trying to balance those out, and I'll continue to do that. But we are getting to a point where we're going to see operational impacts. There's no doubt, not only increased response times, inability to cover certain calls, and probably referring and depending on some area departments to cover some of our calls. We will see diminish and start to see some of that as we continue to look at these cuts from a manpower standpoint in the department. Certainly going to see a reduction in overtime, increase in overtime as a result. I certainly will be remiss not to address the SAFER grant. I know my colleagues in the room often bring it up and it gets addressed. And I fully want to admit, I fully want to acknowledge I understand that. I looked into it, I've researched it, I did some math and study on it. In 2018, my predecessor and the fire chief brought that safety grant forward, obviously worked through the administration and the council to have that approved. At that point, it was approved and it was designed to reduce overtime. That was my understanding of what the goal was and provide additional coverage, call coverage for the city. I think it was successful. It reduced 6,240 hours of overtime. You convert that into the math, it's about $400-some thousand in overtime. So while the safety grant did go away, I'm certainly will acknowledge that. It also reduced overtime by $400,000, which could be used to supplement some of that manpower. So I think the design intent can say it worked. Certainly, I think the opportunity existed, and this is not a criticism. When that was approved, there was no secret that that was going to go away someday. And I'm not sure what steps or actions were taken to prepare for that. I think as we look back and do a case study in that, I think there was opportunities that we probably could have done some things differently to prepare for that grant to go away. And that's not just the council or administration, that's my position and the chief's position. So fully an opportunity that I think was missed. We need to learn from that, but we also need to recognize that we have to now manage that issue, and how do we do that safely and effectively to not only protect the citizens, but also the manpower of our police and fire department. It's not lost on me. As I reported, the police department has been working short for at least 3 years. They have a 28% increase in call volume. Mr. Similink, I did some follow-up. Thank you, Chief Bahovy. All segments of call, types of calls have increased across the board. There's not one particular area like where we're like way out of control. Is across the board in call types and response centers as we looked across that. I thank Chief Bahovy for doing some research on me of that. So obviously with a 28% increase in being short, you have a weary and tired police department as they begin to not only manage a very stressful job, but do it short-staffed. It adds additional stress to them. So I think the call volume increase and where they've been working certainly been justified. And I certainly recognize that our safety forces grant is 20 years old. And probably something that we should have maybe looked at or dealt with, previously. And it's going to be tough now in this economic market with inflation and competing interests with schools. To go back to the taxpayers and ask for dollars is going to be a challenge. There's no doubt about that. And I'm sure we're going to have to make some difficult decisions here internally before we even think about going back to the taxpayers for dollars. So I'm well aware of that. And I recognize the challenges faced ahead. And I certainly recognize competing interests. I listened to Ray and Ron talk about the street department. I'm not trying to compete with the street department. It's in dire need. You've seen it, I've seen it, and I support that. So I recognize that, and I certainly just want to acknowledge that, I am committed to being a good steward and partner in any of the reductions we need to do across the city to make sure we're fiscally responsible. I just hope that we can make sure it's equal and fair across the board as we prioritize services. One of the things I wanted to share, and I've not done this strategically, and you've heard me talk about the rounding processes I've completed with the departments. Not totally completed with the police department, but I've had a lot of opportunities to round with them. And one of the comments that came up quite frequently from both departments, in fairness, there's 2 strategic questions. There's 5 I asked, 2 I specifically asked. How do you feel you're supported by city administration, i.e. strategic planning, equipment, and things like that? Number 1, kudos to you. I think all of them feel that you've supported them with the equipment and tools they need. I don't think that not one person did not mention that. So I think that's a compliment to both of you. And like I said, this is not meant to be a criticism, but the one thing that they did bring up, that they often feel that they're the target. When there's a financial crisis in the city, it's often looked at the safety forces first, that they often see that they are the easy button, or they're like, hey, they're viewed as a financial burden to the city. I recognize they're expensive. I do. They're some of the highest paid employees in the city, and I believe rightfully so for the job that they do to protect our citizens and the property we serve. But it was a comment that I took seriously, and I listened and I watched, and I've been a part of many meetings now for a year. And I've said this to all my leadership teams that I've been a part of. Words matter. And I think we need to be cautious as a group what we say when we say it. I think not only my departments listen, all the departments listen, the citizens listen. And whether those words are intentional or unintentional or said or implied, it has an impact on morale. It has an impact on staffing. And I'm not going to say that that is the root of turnover problems in our organization. I will tell you that we have some great opportunity internally that we're addressing, move forward to fix. But I will tell you in every exit interview I completed, of the 14 that left from the fire department, 8 of them all brought that same thing up. I will tell you when I met with the police department, we've not had a lot of turnover there, but they share similar feelings of like they often feel like they're the burden or the focus of the financial difficulties of the city. And like I said, not a criticism, but I think it's fair that you're aware of that. I'm aware of that, and I feel it's something we need to be sensitive to and address, because I fear that the delay of continuing to have to not replace manpower, putting off some of the services and equipment that we're doing, where I think we need to do it, will be a compounding factor that's going to lead to additional probably turnover and stress amongst our safety forces. So I have significant concern that the delays could have on the impact of our department. I think biasedly, we have the best personnel in the community, in the surrounding county. I would put our police department, fire department up against anybody. I think the fact that they excel and they're high performing also covers up the short and what they're dealing with, because they can handle probably more than most can, and I credit them for that. I take this job very seriously. I recognize one of my jobs is to steward the tax dollars, and I will commit to doing that. But I also recognize there's a second part that I sworn into, and that's to protect the safety and welfare of our property and our citizens of the community. And additionally, what I take probably more seriously is protecting the safety of our firefighters and police officers, and that includes making sure they have the staffing, equipment, and training they need to do their jobs successfully. And that's very important to me. And as we continue to encroach on this fiscal issue that we balance out, like I said, certainly want to be a partner in this. I'm certainly going to make sure we do our fair share. I think, $1 million, take out some of the adjustments, $900,000 over 2 years, I think is showing that we are doing our part. I just hope as we begin to look at, if we have to make more difficult decisions, we look at prioritizing services that we can and can't, and just ask that I could be at the table to have those conversations to make sure that we're not jeopardizing the safety and welfare of the city. So it's probably longer than you wanted, Chris, but that's where I'm at. Now, I know there could be some deferment in hiring of the two positions. I certainly have some concerns. The mayor and I discussed that this morning, had a very spirited conversation, but I appreciate the mayor being able to push back. And that does concern me. We will see operational impacts, but I recognize tough decisions need to be made. I just hope that we can take consideration of other departments. I'm assuming other departments have made the same sacrifices we have. I've not seen that, nor is that probably my business to see. I try to just focus on my departments. But I look forward to having those conversations as we move forward. So I don't believe that any money's been moved out of our budget since we submitted, so I don't know if that makes any difference in what decisions we make here tonight, but I wanted to share that on behalf of the safety forces of where we are, what we've done, and the concerns I have moving forward if we continue to head down this path.
Thank you, Safety Director. I will say that there was some money moved out of your budget, but it was replaced with capital for the cruiser.
Other than the cruiser, yeah, absolutely.
So there was money moved out of there.
And the auditor clarified that
Yeah,
with me.
but it was moved into master capital,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
in full transparency, yes, we did move some money out of your
I
budget.
acknowledge that. That was disclosed. So.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure you were aware. We didn't take it away, we just changed where it came from.
Understood.
All right. Any other comments from, yes, Ms. Ramos?
Heather, I'm gonna ask you this question. What is the projected revenue total? We've got it for the other years, but not for this year, and I didn't use my little calculator this afternoon.
The total across all funds? Or just
Projected
general fund?
revenue. Citywide.
I have the grand total at the bottom of this page. I do not have the grand total of all funds on the bottom of this page. I don't have the grand total across the whole.
That's what she was asking, because it wasn't there. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't on this sheet we got. I mean, each line item had the total, but I didn't add it all up.
Yeah,
I was
didn't
wondering
have
if you had that.
total.
Is it 42 million?
For the expenses.
Oh,
I had the grand
Did you ask for
total
revenue,
the
Cheryl?
expenses, but I don't
I'm
have the
sorry?
grand
Did you ask for
total.
revenue?
yeah, the estimated revenue total,
I don't have the grand total, I can add that up here.
we have it per line item on a sheet that we got. But I just wondered what the total, that was one of your questions.
Yeah,
too, wasn't it?
I added it up manually, it came around 40 million is what I came up with, but I don't know if
We are relying on carryovers, for this budget.
Okay, and the rest would be carryover. So
And
that
I will
would
say
make up
this,
the
the auditor did send us a revenue worksheet. I did not print that
Yes.
whole revenue, but I believe that revenue worksheet may have had a total on it, if I recall.
Well, we did for the last
Wasn't
2
it?
years, but
Okay.
not this year.
Not for this year? Okay. Maybe I totaled mine. 'Cause
Which
thought
I can
had
do
a total.
manually,
Yeah,
but
I thought I had a
Yeah,
total,
that's
but if
fine.
you ask me what that number is right now, Cheryl, anything I told you would be a lie. Because I don't remember what it added up to.
And I know that's only a projection
Right.
estimated. But, just real quick, I did want to, address your comments, Kevin. It's recently come to my attention more about the police overtime. So I think it's really important to replace, the people that we need to do in that department. I know there's been a hiring freeze for a while, and in particular, their burnout because of the traumatic situations that they see, a lot. Having a husband that worked in the ER, he saw a lot of traumatic situations. And I think he's still recovering since he retired, but that's a big concern for me, for their burnout, for the police.
Well, I
So-
appreciate that. You know, I have not held up my end of the bargain with the police chief in getting my rounding done in a timely manner with the police. She has done her part, and she's willfully shared some of her findings with that. And I can tell you in my unofficial rounding with the police department, as I stop and meet with the men and women, they are. I mean, it's not only the 2 open positions, to be candid with you. When you look at the growth rate that we're on, and you look at the threat environment that we live in this country, in this community, and you look what's starting to happen around us, we're actually probably need more than just the 2 that's in the budget, to be candid with you. But that's incumbent upon me to create a strategic plan and figure out how to fund that moving forward. But I couldn't agree with you more. I think when you look at the burnout rates in the safety forces across the country, it's a real issue. And all of our departments are feeling it. And certainly the police department our police department is no different than that. I appreciate it.
Other questions or comments from council?
I am showing a total revenue of about 40,175,000.
What was that?
40,175,000.
Oh, it's close.
It goes into this, gotcha.
And that's without the grants and without carryovers?
That's not including the carryover.
Okay, because the carryover would make up, the
Significantly.
deficit that we're seeing here.
Yes,
Okay.
and that's worrisome. We don't have much of a carryover for next year. And there really isn't much in the budget for any emergencies, for emergency building repairs. So if we have emergencies, we may need to look at, taking some allocations away from some departments, or we could move things around in master capital. And so we left some unallocated and, unappropriated in the master capital for one.
Right.
Hopefully, we get our grant reimbursements in time, and if we do get our grant reimbursements in time, then there may be some, that we can allocate to building repairs.
Mr. Crambo, you had a question?
Well, comment. So, I've already viewed my frustration in the past, and I don't wanna give Mr. Baker more clickbait tonight, so. You know, I'm gonna vote to approve this tonight, but I want a stipulation with that, and I need you and the mayor to be on board with this. Just not worry about the first meeting in April so we can have a break, but I truly believe we need to start having a finance meeting again in April or May to start discussing options. The street department and the safety forces are vital to
Absolutely.
our city, and you know, I've brought up before that we just keep kind of limping along, and it's time to do something, so that we're not worried about buying a painter for the street department. We can't even buy a $30,000 painter. By the way, talked to someone who was summer help. I know his dad real well, and he said that thing is a complete piece of crap, has to be like 100 years old. And
That's what I
he's
said.
out trying to paint with it. So just, and then the safety forces to go through what they've had to do. Both of those departments are vital. Obviously, the enterprise funds, I will leave those out. Those are the two things that we have to come up with a solution. So we're not coming in here, and doing this next year. And I know I've had the conversation with the mayor, and I've had the conversation with Steve, and I think we're gonna hopefully be doing that. And some of them are gonna be very, very difficult conversations. And I hope that people are open to having those. And that's all I'll ask of that. And Steve, auditor, Kevin, mayor, I appreciate everybody's extra time in this. I know Steve and I met on a Saturday and on a Monday, and countless phone calls, texts. You know, everybody's worked really, really hard on this. But the work just, in my opinion, begins in April, the harder work than this. So that's my last comment, and I'm gonna, again, I'll vote to approve it, but it's almost a reluctant vote because I feel like it's not really helping us. We gotta begin to talk about 2027 and not in October, like in April. So, thank you.
Thank you for that. And I will tell you that you've got my full commitment. We are gonna stop treating symptoms, we're gonna start looking for cures. We've got to systemically look at every function that this city's doing, analyze it, look at it fairly, and make decisions on how to move forward with every single service we provide. We cannot continue to do what we've always done and expect it to turn out any differently than the last several years have. And until, I will tell you as finance chair, I will not support any kind of a tax increase until we have systematically looked at every single department and every activity we do to see if we're doing it the best we can. Then and only then would I talk about revenue. We have to look at operations first.
Thank you. This is for the mayor or the service director. I know probably off the top of your head, you're not gonna be able to give me a figure, but probably the last 10 years, how much has the state withheld from us, from our local share funding?
Local government funding, it used to be about 3.75% before Governor Kasich, and then it was cut down to 1.66%, and it has been restored to 1.71%.
Yeah, so we're talking big dollars.
Yeah, oh
So
yeah.
I don't,
millions.
and that goes to the point, I keep hearing about, we're already
Yeah.
cut to the bone on almost all these departments. And it's not because of their frivolous spending
No, it's not.
or anything, it's more of what the state did with our money.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking millions of dollars.
And now they'd like to do it with our real estate taxes as well. Thank you very much.
Well, that would, I don't think people understand, you know, that it takes tax dollars to fix your roads and,
Well, to pay for city services.
yeah,
Period.
everything.
Yeah.
And when you come down to it, that's all we are, it's a service industry. We don't sell a product.
Water.
Yeah, but then we have to recycle it.
All
We
of
just
our,
rent
all of
them
our
water.
enterprise funds
We rent the water.
are
Yeah.
completely fine.
Anybody else from the committee, from council, administrators, anybody else have something that you'd like to add?
Yeah, Heather, what does 1% on the income tax roughly produce a month? You had that last month, like 6,500 or 5,500, I forget what you said.
Are you talking about for the cemeteries?
No, just what does 1%?
The 1% portion of the
1%,
tax.
The 1% of the
Oh,
tax.
gotcha. Let's see here. Let's see if I can find the report that's in. Stick that in tonight's folder, so.
It's going to be about 660,000 a year, or 6.6 million a year.
A month.
The 1% tax. I'm looking at
On
the.
the- on the-
Okay.
On the income tax.
Of our monthly revenue, what is 1% of that?
The income tax.
Oh, okay, okay. I was,
I
I
think it's
think
only like
Danielle sends that
And you
out
can only get an estimate.
every month,
5,500 or
doesn't she?
6,000.
That doesn't show
Yeah.
the breakdown of the 1% versus the 0.5%.
No, let me look.
Well, Danielle has our spreadsheet, and I think I thought she sent that to administration. I don't get that, but
No,
Carly
she has a.
Carly
Carly,
does.
sorry.
Carly says
Carly
that.
I
has it.
misunderstood the service director. I thought you wanted to know the total
No, we didn't.
generated by the 1%
No,
tax.
yeah, no.
No.
So it'd be about
So, yeah, 1% of that.
should be around 7,500, 8,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
It's $800,000 is our tax revenue, so if you think of 1%, that's.
And price for the year, but,
Carly has a spreadsheet.
I think he's asking for the month.
yeah, and I can
well, it varies
compound
by
it.
month, but.
I can
month-
compound it times 12.
One comes in wherever that ranges from 7 to 1.6 or 1.22.
She has that one she gives us every month that doesn't subtract the refund.
Yeah,
But then she has another.
That's okay, Heather.
but if that's the one, I think.
Because my,
you're right.
what,
I mean,
Well,
it's-
Ron, I've got an
average of
analysis on that
80,000.
on a spreadsheet.
Yeah,
Under
I was gonna
80,000.
say that
Here's
they-
I'll send it to
I
you.
don't-
Like
I
in
don't get it,
February,
but,
that was
Heather
what
gets
we
it,
took in
and
a
I
month.
get
yeah,
That was
I
the one and a
just-
half.
I just wanna get to my,
Get it.
my question is,
Kevin.
I give
In
February.
25 and 26, we removed that from the cemetery and put it over in the safety forces fund. So on top of everything
No,
else,
we didn't.
No, with the general fund.
No.
general
Yeah,
fund, that-
general.
but when it was earmarked, it was earmarked for police and fire pensions and police overtime. It was never, the 4% was never returned back. What I'm saying is, that's $620,000. And then I keep hearing, like I've said before, all of a sudden, the cemetery can't. If we could give those 2% back to that and the street, now where's the safety forces at? And just get it back to where it always was.
I don't think you took it away from the street, did you? I thought you just took it away from the cemetery. That was before.
4%, correct. And I had legislation last year that put 2% into cemetery and 2% into street.
Didn't that 11% of that always went to the police fire pension, right? Pretty
Right.
consistently since I've been here.
here.
Since I've been in this position, so I.
We can look
In
up
this
the
one,
old,
we got 12% for the street department, 11% police and fire pension fund, 4% cemetery operating, 65% general fund, 8%
Master capital.
master capital.
Up to 300,000. Then it rolls into general fund. And we had taken that down to 3 the previous 2 years for cemeteries.
For
now to
cemetery.
4. And that does not make them whole, but that is recommendations we're getting from our advisors, that it's easier to transfer money from the general fund back to supplement that.
This is pretty consistent.
But Ron, I've got that, what 1% does. I've got a worksheet that I can send you that shows that. Any other questions, comments, concerns from?
Just a reminder that, yes, we do need to start working on next year's budget immediately. If we don't have any additional estimated revenue sources that are coming in for next year, and with the new contracts, the new employee handbook that I still ask for that to be rescinded. I didn't approve, I wasn't in any of those discussions for the employee handbook, and that did add quite a bit of expenses to our budget this year, since I think that was passed, or not passed, but handed out in January. And so again, that added more changes to the budget. And we just, I guess, said all along this past year during the union negotiations that we don't have the revenue to support the union negotiations that were being approved. And we didn't have the revenue to support the non-bargaining wage increases in December, that were given in December. And next, we're probably gonna be negotiating here pretty soon for 2027s. I'm sure their health insurance is gonna increase again. It increased by 20%, was it 20% in middle of 2000, for the 2025 year?
It was
Expect another
18
increase.
months, I think it was locked in.
Yes, it was locked in
So
for
it's locked in
18
through the
months,
end of this
so
year.
all of 2000, yes.
So, and what you're saying, Otter, all the more reason we have to take a systemic look at everything that we're doing
Right.
to see if we're doing it as efficiently as we can, top to bottom. And there, we may find that we're not spending enough in some places, but we have to take that look at each operation so that we're sure that we can work within the revenues you're talking about.
Mr. Chair, quick question. Where did we land on projection of growth? Did we project a percentage of growth this year? Or where did-
2.5%.
We stayed right around 2.5, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm praying, literally praying, that that is a conservative estimate. Yes, Mrs. Ramos?
So I know health, insurance is a huge cost. Have we, tried to find a less expensive vendor? Like shopped around and,
There is no less expensive vendor. The other vendors we went to were talking a 40% increase.
okay,
We
so
got
what
a
was it this year
20%.
then?
20%,
20%?
yeah.
So the answer is yes, you shopped.
Yeah, we shop.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, but we locked in July 1st of 25 for 18 months.
Correct.
And a lot of our increase it's based off of usage
Self-pay.
as well, correct? Yeah.
Yes.
So, and there's potential
Potential,
that it could help itself out, but,
right.
yeah. So that'll be coming up, obviously, this year then, too.
Mm.
Any other discussion? You've got department heads back there. Anybody need to throw anything in? Does this body wish to take action on this legislation tonight?
I'll make a motion to add ordinance number 5, 2026 to tonight's agenda, and I'm assuming we want to try to suspend the rules and pass.
Yes, if we could.
And I'll second that.
Okay, I'm just gonna do a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will add that as an emergency measure tonight and try to pass the budget on first reading. Is there any other business to come before the committee?
I
Yes,
just have a
ma'am.
question for clarification. So ordinance 3, which is where we're putting the money, the tax money.
Yeah, we passed that out
Yeah, but
last
it
meeting.
wasn't on the agenda. Do we need to add that?
Do we need to add that tonight, or are you handwriting it in
You
there?
already added.
Okay,
So
yeah.
it's already
just
on
a
the
typo.
agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a typo.
Oversight. I thought
Yes.
that's what
Okay.
you were saying.
Yeah.
Okay. So
So
that
we
will
just
be
need to
before us.
handwrite it in to
Yes,
remind ourselves.
yes, and
Okay.
we will, I would love to suspend the rules on that tonight and get both passed as joint legislation. Are there any other matters to come before us? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn, Dan.
So moved.
Thank you, Dan.
right, it's 7:30. This meeting of New Philadelphia State Council will now come to order. Would you please rise and remain standing for the invocation and pledge of allegiance? Mr. Walker.
Bow your heads, please. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for this beautiful city. We just pray for the safety of all of our safety forces and employees and those that do all the work around the city. We are grateful for the general workers and AEP that went out and got all of our power back on and all the trees cleaned up throughout those storms. We just are grateful for all those people. Be with this council this evening as we make decisions to glorify this city and glorify you. We pray all this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Welcome to everybody that's here this evening. Start off with roll call.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Here.
Mr. Lonzer.
Here.
Mrs. Ramos. Here. Mr. Rippett.
Present.
Mr. Sears.
Here.
Mr. Simile.
Here.
Mr. Walker.
Here.
All right, we have everybody here this evening. Everybody had a chance to review the agenda for tonight. Are there any additions to the agenda? Mr.
Yes,
Ribbett?
yes, Mr. President, I would like to add to the agenda tonight ordinance 6, 2026, and ask for suspension of the rules.
6 or 5?
Wait, I'm
Five.
sorry, 5. I wrote down Cheryl's. 5, 2026.
I'll second that.
All right, thank you. Discussion by administration. Council, roll call.
Mr. Rippett.
Yes.
Mr. Lonzer.
Yes.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
Mr. Simile.
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Are there any additions to the agenda for tonight? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve our agenda for tonight?
Make a motion.
Okay, thank you, Christie, second.
Yes.
It's similar, thank you. In discussion by administration, council, roll call.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Yes.
Mr. Simile.
Yes.
Mr. Lonzer.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Rippett.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
All right, our agenda has been approved. Minutes for the last council. Everybody had a chance to review. Are there any additions or corrections? Here, done, entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Mr. Ripper, need a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Simley. In discussion by administration, council, roll call.
Mr. Rippett.
Yes.
Mr. Simile.
Yes.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Yes.
Mr. Lonzer.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Abstain.
All right, minutes have been approved. Correspondence, Ms. Courtright.
To council and administration from Mayor Day dated March 16th, 2026. This is an email titled Completed Master Vision Plan with a link to the plan in the body of the email. This was replied to by Councilwoman Ramos. To council and administration from Auditor Denham dated March 17th, 2026. This is the 2026 permanent budget revised. To council and administration from Councilman Kreinbell dated March 20th, 2026. This is an email titled Request for an Honorary Street Sign recognizing New Philadelphia VFW Post 1445's 100th anniversary. This was replied to by Mayor Day, who asked President Kemp to assign the matter to a committee. President Kemp assigned it to Councilwoman Ramos's Zoning and Annexation Committee. To council and administration from Auditor Denham dated March 21st, 2026. This is an email titled 2026 Permanent Appropriation Ordinance Attachment. To council clerk from the Ohio Department of Commerce, Division of Liquor Control dated March 16th, 2026. Responses must be postmarked no later than April 17th, 2026. This is a request for a D2, D1 liquor license request for Wallerby's LLC, Toasted on the Square, located at 101 West High Avenue, New Philadelphia. I forwarded the request to President Kemp to place in the proper committee, and President Kemp assigned the matter to Mr. Walker's committee. To Auditor Denham and Treasurer Campbell from Tisha Ann Turner, Chief project officer for the Ohio Auditor dated March 23rd, 2026. This is an email titled Meeting Regarding FHIs. And to council and administration from Mayor Day dated March 23rd, 2026. This is the mayor's report, and that concludes correspondence for this evening.
All right, thank you, Ms. Courtwright. Moving to our administrative reports. First up, Mayor Day.
Thank you, Mr. President. Council members, fellow administrators, and guests, a couple of things I want to touch on from the report I saw earlier today for the benefit of folks at home, and then I'm going to turn over the rest of my time to the group here. At its annual membership meeting tomorrow, members of the Ohio Mid-Eastern Governments Association will vote to relocate the organization's headquarters from Cambridge to the Talati Technology Incubator on Tech Park Drive Northeast here in New Philadelphia. As president of Omega's Board of Directors, I've advocated for the move because logistically, it would put Omega's headquarters in the center of Omega's 10-county region. Plus, the organization would benefit from working synergy with its neighbors, the Muskingum Watershed Conservancy District, Buckeye Career Center, and Kent State Tuscarawas. As one of Ohio's local development districts, Omega is a conduit for federal and state funding of local economic and community development. New Philadelphia and all communities in Tuscarawas County are served by Omega and rely on its grant funding, project financing, and transportation expertise. If the move to the Talati building is approved, Omega will have room to expand its services and its staff of 9 people. And I'll let you know how the outcome of the vote goes. City tree crews are still removing and trimming trees. If you haven't noticed, those are the ones damaged by the recent windstorm. Man hours and damage estimates are being sent to the Tuscarawas County Emergency Management Agency with the hope that Governor DeWine declares Tuscarawas County as an area eligible for reimbursement of the cleanup and recovery costs. Replacement of the roof over the barbecue pit at Tuscarora Park, which was destroyed by a wind gust, was also included in that damage report. Now, President Kemp, I'd like to give the remainder of my time to members of the Yes for New Philadelphia Committee and New Philadelphia Schools representatives for a presentation on issue 1, the school tax levy that will appear on the May 5th primary election ballot. So whoever wants to take the lead here.
Thank you, Mayor Day.
It did,
It's just
It'll
for
just come
recording
on?
purposes.
All right.
It doesn't
All right.
project, it just records.
Wonderful. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Amy Wentworth, Superintendent for the New Philadelphia City School District. And I am here this evening just to tell you a little bit about the issue that will be on the May ballot for voter consideration and how it has different from other issues that we've had on the ballot over the past year and a half. As I think you are all aware, the New Philadelphia City School District is still trying to address its facility issue. Our buildings are an average of 80-plus years old and are all in need of some significant maintenance and repairs. In 2023, the district created a facility master plan in conjunction with the community that said that we were going to tear down our existing buildings and build 2 new buildings to house our students. Since then, we've made several changes to the plan, and the issue that is on the ballot in May is very different from any issue that we've placed on the ballot previously. A couple things have happened to cause that to be the case. First and foremost, we have a new tract of land that is available to the district, approximately 77 acres located currently just outside the city limits, but with the possibility of annexation into the city, has become available to the district. And we have a contingency offer to purchase that land should we be able to pass this ballot issue and secure the funding. We still have an offer from the state of Ohio, the OFCC, that will pay $80 million toward the total cost of the project, which represents about 55% of the cost of the project if we can raise our local share. Previously, we tried to do that through property taxes, and the community has said very clearly that that is not something that they are in favor of. So this time, in response to what we've heard from the community, we are not putting a property tax issue on the ballot. We are putting an earned income tax issue on the ballot, meaning that only those residents of the district who have an earned income will be paying this tax. The most frequent group of our stakeholders that contacted me personally were our senior citizens. And I heard this message over and over from them saying, I want to support the school. I have always supported the school, but I simply cannot afford an increase in my property taxes. This new plan of an earned income tax issue solves that problem for our seniors who have no earned income. Because people who are only receiving Social Security benefits or pensions or interest income, that is not earned income, and therefore they will not be paying this tax. The tax is on the ballot for a continuing period of time. However, it will take 30 years to pay off the debt that is incurred to build these buildings. And at that time, the school district will have the opportunity to consider whether or not they want to continue to collect the tax. For individuals, though, their obligation is probably much less than 30 years. Because at the point any individual resident ceases to earn an income, as in they retire, they will no longer be paying this tax. That is one major difference between this issue and the property tax issue, which would have been levied upon every property tax owner in the district for 37 years. Under an earned income tax issue, individuals will pay the tax until they no longer have an earned income, most typically when they retire. The issue is 1.5%. That means that for every $100 that somebody earns, they would pay $1.50 to the school district to repay the debt that this district would incur in order to build these buildings. With that, I am going to, one more thing, I almost forgot. If this passes, very important, we will also be reducing property taxes to every resident in the district by $0.50. That is because 1.5% is a little more income than the district needs to pay the debt back. 1.25% wasn't quite enough money to pay the debt back, and we can only put issues on the ballot in terms of 0.25% increments. So to show our residents that we really want to be responsible with the dollars that we collect, we will be reducing property taxes by $0.50 if this issue passes. With that, I'm going to turn it over to the Yes for New Philly Schools Committee, and they're going to share some more information with you.
Hi, everyone. I am Stacy Godfrey, and you guys have all heard my story a few times now, so I'm going to talk about a little something different today. I just have a few different ways that we can help champion this plan. I've passed out a few things. Those are just kind of for your own knowledge and for you guys to use when you're talking with people. That touches on a couple of the questions that we hear the most. One of them is about the cost of the land itself, and then the cost of things that are associated with the land. And when you break it down over all the taxpayers that are going to be paying into this, it's really not as astronomical as it sounds. So I have passed the breakdown around in case any of you are anywhere where people are asking that. You can share that with them. So one of the things I find most incredible about living in this area is how many people here have so many generational legacies and generational roots. People grew up here, their parents grew up here, their grandparents grew up here, and I don't know if everybody realizes how unique and special that is, especially in today's world. My own family and my husband's family, they're both pretty spread out, so we're kind of jealous of the connection that so many people have here. But the only downside that we've seen to that is that I think it gives people a little bit of, makes things a little easier to, it makes problems easier to accept, because the schools have been, chugging along for people's whole lives now, and it makes it seem like they're just gonna keeping on. And it kind of makes it seem like a breaking point won't ever come, but I do feel like we're getting to the breaking point. So for just one example, 5 of our buildings need new roofs. And that's not for lack of maintenance, it's because no roofing companies will come patch them anymore. I think there's some modulars that need new roofs also, all of them. So 9 modulars also need new roofs, and the same thing, it's not due to lack of taking care of them, it's because they've been so taken care of that they've reached the end of their useful life. So I think we are coming to a breaking point, and there probably will be some building closures soon. So as you know, I'm a transplant, and I've told you guys my outside perspective. And so what I want to share about that is that people who are coming here from other areas that are looking to live here, they don't care where in town the school's located. They don't care how much was paid for the land that the school's on. They really only care, like, does it have modern educational capabilities? Is it safe? Does it offer their kids the same opportunities that they would get in other districts? And right now, the answer to all 3 of those questions here is no. So we're losing both prospective and current families to other districts like Dover, Tusky Valley, and Indian Valley. So hopefully we can change that trend. I do want to touch real quick on the income tax. That's the other paper that you guys got. There's over 200 districts in Ohio right now with an income tax. And I looked up ones that had a similar ask to ours. So I found 12 with an earned income tax between 1.5 and 2%. So some of them have a little more than ours. And of those 12 districts, 11 have had an increase in population over the past 6 years from the 2020 census. So that can't be attributed directly to the schools, but what it does tell us is that having an earned income tax isn't a deterrent to living somewhere. So, and our population, in contrast, has gone down over the past 6 years. So, in closing, we need to appeal to those currently living here and then also make ourselves attractive to newbies. So, I don't have any ties here, but I've really found that we love it here, and so we're fighting for it here. We think it's a great area. It's a great place to raise kids. It has a lot of appeal. It has a quaint downtown and the park, and I just think it would be great to have the school campus and have some housing pop up out around it and connect out the back way to Buckeye and Kent, and I think that would just be amazing. So I do think we have enough yes voters. They've been split on previous elections. I think a little personal bias plays in, and people are kind of shooting things down based on imperfection, but there isn't a plan that's gonna be perfect for every single voter. So I think this plan's a good collaboration. It's a response to feedback from previous plans. And so we're just asking you guys to please help us be cheerleaders for this and help share how the buildings would help the community, the school, and the city. So thank you. And does anyone have any questions on anything or the papers?
Any council members? Doing a great job. We need the schools, so definitely new schools.
Thank you. And I'm gonna turn it over to Michelle.
Does it matter more? That doesn't matter.
You're just being recorded.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Michelle Milburn, and I'm here tonight not just as a resident, but as a parent and somebody who deeply cares about the future of New Philadelphia. Some of you know my story. I graduated from New Philly. My husband and I both moved away after we graduated, and we moved back to New Philly after living away for about 10 to 15 years. Then we started a family here. And that's typical, you see that quite a bit. But I want to start with a simple question. How many of you sitting here tonight are graduates of New Philadelphia, by a show of hands? Now let me ask you this. How many of you have walked through those halls recently, by a show of hands? Because those buildings are the same buildings you walked in 10, 30, 40, 50 years ago. Only now they're older, more worn, they're in worse condition from when you were there. And how many of you have children or grandchildren that are in our schools today? Is it acceptable, honestly acceptable, that the students of this community are expected to learn in spaces that no longer meet their needs? Spaces that weren't designed for today's safety standards, today's learning environment, or today's expectations. As a parent, I'll be very real with you. This isn't theoretical for me. My 8-year-old goes to a school every day in a classroom without a door. A door. And I'm not saying that to be shock value. I say it because it is the reality that we're living in. We all say we want our kids and grandkids to come back here after they graduate, to raise their families here, and to invest in our community. But why would they? Have you seen our neighboring school districts? Dover, Tusky Valley, I'd put Claymont in there, Strasburg, Sandy Valley. They all have modern, beautiful schools, schools their communities are so proud of. And then there's us. We are the county seat, and yet we are last in line when it comes to investing in our schools. How can we compete? How can we expect to attract families and businesses or growth when we are visibly falling behind? This is bigger than politics. This is bigger than past disagreements between the city and the schools. But I do know this, it's time to put those differences aside because this stake is far too important. Our kids, our future workforce, our community's long-term success. You all listened when the community spoke about wanting things like bringing a Chick-fil-A here. And to that I say thank you. I love Chick-fil-A. I'm the first to admit it. But our kids and the safety of our children in this community, I love them far more. So tonight we're asking for something far more important. We're asking you to stand up for the kids in our community, to be vocal, to be leaders, to be publicly supportive of this levy and show this community that we're united and moving forward. Because this is not a school issue. This is a community issue. And right now our community is counting on you. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kate, and a lot of what I'm going to say kind of plays into what Michelle already said, so she kind of stole my thunder, but it's all good, all good. But I recognize that the people in this room have invested far more years into this community than I have. And I'm not here to dive into the state of our facilities, because you already know those impacts. I'm here to tell you what New Philly looks like from my perspective. I'm 25 with multiple generations of family here. I had great-grandparents, to parents, siblings, cousins, nieces, nephews, and my best friends who grew up on these same streets. When I asked myself why I care so much about this levy, the answer was obvious, and it's because I love my people. I want more holidays, more games, more memories, and more years in this same town, watching each other's kids grow up. I know all of you have felt the same way at some point in your lives here as well. And that's what I've been fighting for 2 years now. But the future only works if people can stay, and right now staying is a hard sell for my generation specifically. We need careers with real promise of opportunity. We need a city that invests in its future. We need schools that are adaptive, safe, and ambitious for our children. And we need to feel like we have a community that is growing with us. Without all this, we leave, not because we want to, but because we feel like we have to. And when we leave, we take our families, our spending, our energy, our effort, and our futures elsewhere. That loss doesn't show up in a giant headline. It shows up slowly in empty seats at the holidays and 4-4 sales lines in our yards, in a town that starts to feel a little smaller every year. I know some of you may be weighing the cost of this levy against the uncertainty of ROI. I understand that instinct, and you all didn't build what you have right now without being careful and smart with your investments. But I want to reframe that calculation a little bit and think about what it costs to do nothing, rather. Every young family that chooses another town over ours is a customer you don't have. Every skilled worker who relocates elsewhere with better schools is a hire you can't make. And every student we pour our education efforts into is a person who chooses to pour all that knowledge into their future somewhere else. Every year our school buildings age is another year we fall further behind the communities that are competing with for residents around us, for businesses, and for relevance. The cost of inaction is slower and quieter than a levy, and it's easier to overlook. Now it's time to discuss word of mouth marketing, which this is something that every person in this room already understands, I'm sure. In a small town like us, word of mouth is the most powerful marketing tactic there is, and the numbers back this up in a way that should matter to every soul here. 88% of consumers say they trust recommendations from friends and family more than any other form of advertising. And this campaign is doing its absolute best with what we've got, but the mailers, the fundraising, the yard signs, the community outreach, all that work is thankless, and none of it carries the same weight of a real person like you, someone a friend already respects, saying they believe in this issue, because that's what people trust. I wish votes changed because of a flyer on a doorstep or a fast fact on Facebook, but they don't. And they change because someone a person trusts looked them in the eye and said why this matters. In a town the size of New Philadelphia, where it feels like everybody knows everybody, that kind of conversation is currency, and word of mouth drives 5 times more impact than any paid advertising. And our campaign budget, unfortunately, can't compete with that. Right now, and there are people in this community who are undecided. Not to say they're against the levy, but they just haven't been convinced of the why yet. And fortunately, it is you who are able to convince them. Your clients, friends, neighbors, peers are taking their cue from people who have been invested in this town at a really high level. A yes vote from you matters, but a yes vote that you can continue to talk about openly, that you bring up with your friends and your neighbors, that you stand behind publicly is what actually moves the needle on the outcome this May. This levy brings $80 million in state funding to New Philly, and that's funding that modernizes classrooms, retains amazing educators, and tells every family looking at our community from the outside that we're serious about ensuring our future. That money's on the table right now, and if we decide we're not ready, it goes to a community that is. You spent your careers building something worth staying for, and I'm asking you now to help make sure that the next generation gets to stay for it. I truly believe the people in this room have the power to change the outcome this May, and I believe you all love your people and this town enough to use it. So please vote yes, say it loud, tell your people, and use the influence you have earned in this community to protect what you built and expand it further. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Emma Pipes, though some of you may know me as Emma Stokey. I'm a 2019 New Philadelphia graduate who left, established community, and chose to come back. I'm here tonight as someone this community raised, someone these schools helped shape, and someone who cares deeply about what kind of future New Philadelphia is building. I am also here on behalf of the New Philadelphia Levy Committee. I'd like to be transparent about that, and I stand here with the bias that I am here for this plan and I am for the schools. When I think about New Philadelphia, I do not first think about tax structures or building plans. I think about memories. I think about what it felt like to be 6 years old and walk into Central Elementary knowing my older sister was there too. That kind of closeness made the school feel safe. It made it feel like I belonged there even before I started kindergarten. I think about growing up in an elementary school where siblings could be together, where my brother and sister could still be part of my school day, where even on rushed mornings there was still time for a hug and a "love you, have a good day" before heading off to class. I think about what it felt like when this town showed up, the roar of a crowd at a Dover Philly game, the kind of turnout and togetherness that surprises people who did not grow up here. That kind of pride makes it clear that this is more than a school district, this is a community. And I think especially about First Town Day's fireworks and what it feels like to sit with your community all around you, everyone gathered together and enjoying the same kind of hometown magic. My family's fireworks party is one of my favorite traditions and one of the clearest reminders of what makes New Philadelphia feel so special. That is what New Philadelphia felt like to me growing up. It felt connected, it felt familiar, it felt like the kind of place people spend their lives hoping to be a part of. But that is not the only part of the story. I also remember what our schools were physically like. I remember crowded buildings and spaces that should have been temporary, but were not. closets turned into makeshift classrooms, modulars used as extra learning spaces, no air conditioning, buckets catching water from ceilings. Even part of our playground was closed off because the structure beneath it was failing. Those were the learning conditions for me starting in 2006. And 20 years later, they are still the learning conditions for students today. After high school, I left for college, graduated, and got married. Like many people, we had the opportunity to stay away and build a life somewhere else. And that is what makes this feel so complicated, because even with all that, even everything I shared, even my memory and my knowledge that nothing has changed, there is still so much about this community that makes it worth coming back to. We know this community is special. It is, like I said, it is the kind of place people spend their whole lives looking for, a place that cares about its people, values education, and continues to pour back into itself. I remember listening to my classmates in high school, and it felt like every conversations about our futures ended the same way, with people talking about how excited they were to get out and never come back. That never sat right with me. It made me ask the question, what makes this place worth leaving? But an even bigger question, what makes this place worth staying in and returning to? My husband and I moved back here because we love this community. We got married here, chose to plant our roots here, and wanted our future to begin here. However, our families are from here. Our families do have businesses here, and we do work in those businesses. But we are here because we want to invest in this community the way it invested in us. So we are not here by accident. We are here on purpose. And that is why this matters so much to me now more than ever. Because to be quite honest, I do have to ask myself, why do I care so much? Why does this feel so relevant to me? I do not have children. I have no children on the way. We are simply a young couple who have made the decision to live and work in Tuscarawas County. But after a lot of thought, I have realized that I care because these schools do hold the future of New Philadelphia. These students and these buildings today are our future doctors, nurses, lawyers, business owners, investors, teachers, councilmen, councilwomen. They are the future employees, leaders, and associates of the industry that have helped Tuscarawas County grow. If we care about the future of the city, then we have to care about the people who will one day lead it and live in it. I'm afraid that if we do not get this right, my children may not inherit the New Philadelphia that I grew up loving. I'm afraid they could lose the traditions that shaped me because there will be fewer families to carry them on. It will not be noticeable all at once. In fact, it'll probably feel like these decisions have had no impact at all. But over time, there will be fewer chairs sitting out at parades, fewer people in the stands, quieter crowds at games, and fewer opportunities for our students and community members. Because people will leave. Because young families will choose communities that are better equipped to support them. Because if we do not invest in our schools, we are not just failing buildings, but we are putting what makes this community so rare and special at risk. And let's be honest, if New Philadelphia wants to compete, there is a real cost to building the kind of community people choose. Families have choices. Businesses have choices. Employers, professionals, and young families have choices about where they want to live, work, and build their future. Strong schools are part of what makes a community competitive. If New Philadelphia wants to grow, if we want people to choose this city, if we want employers and families to invest here, then we have to act like it matters. This is also why I was genuinely surprised to learn that the city and school district do not meet on a regular basis. These two groups are making major decisions about the future of the same community, and yet they are not consistently sitting down, discussing, and planning together. If we are serious about building a stronger New Philadelphia, I do believe that has to change. The city cannot talk about growth, annexation, housing, future expansion without considering the schools. And the schools cannot make major decisions about facilities, funding, and the long-term future of students without considering the city. These two entities need each other, and that is why I am here tonight. I am asking for the city's endorsement of this plan, not because it is perfect, and not because this process was handled with the kind of upfront communication it should have been. I also just want to be honest that I acknowledge the imperfections of this plan. I, too, am frustrated by the switch from property tax to income tax. For the majority of the households, this plan will cost significantly more than the original property tax plan would have, because there is now an entire group of people who will be exempt from contributing, and that is frustrating. I understand why this may be hard for council to endorse. I acknowledge why that makes this more difficult, and I understand why you may feel that you are being asked to support something that you did not help shape. But we have one chance to pass this and secure the land on 39. One chance. This is the chance of a lifetime, and if we miss it, it could take generations for New Philadelphia to recover. Without the support from the state and without the city and the schools truly working together, this plan and the plan for the broader future of New Philadelphia will become unaffordable. I do not think the way this opportunity unfolded, or I do think the way this opportunity unfolded made it harder than it needed to be. I do think City Council should have been considered and communicated with more clearly through the change from property to income tax. But I do not think that should be the reason this community loses its chance. 3 generations of my family have been educated through New Philadelphia school system, and the world our students are entering today is drastically different than the one my grandparents entered when they attended in the 1940s and 50s. I know we have made adjustments and introduced temporary solutions to try to best support our students, but we cannot keep treating temporary solutions like permanent ones. Our students are learning in classrooms that were never meant to become part of their standard educational experience. I do not believe the people of New Philadelphia are against new schools. I think most people understand the condition of our buildings, and they understand the need. That need does not come from the lack of maintenance or care. It comes from the simple fact that we have outgrown these schools. I think what people are looking for now is trust. They are looking for confidence that there is a unified vision for what the future of New Philadelphia is supposed to be. And right now, that confidence is hard to find, because we have 2 major entities making decisions that shape the future of the community, and they are contradicting one another instead of reinforcing. They are not operating like they are on the same team, and if the leadership is not on the same team, how can we expect the citizens of New Philadelphia to be? So I think what we are really asking is not whether or not we need new schools, but how are we going to get this done? I acknowledge this council is in a tough spot. A great deal of this has been dropped in your lap, and I understand why that creates frustration and strained trust. But if we lose this $80 million, it will not matter whose fault it was. We will all lose. We will lose as a school district, and we will lose as a community. And that is not why I moved back here. I moved back here because I believe in New Philadelphia, and I want this community to win. And to the school board, I want to say this with the same honesty. I want to acknowledge the time, effort, and energy that has gone into trying to put a plan together that this community would support. And I understand the levy failed. After the levy failed in November, there was pressure to change a variable to try to better respond to what the community might be willing to say yes to. I also understand it may not have been the intention to change 2 variables at once, but when the land on 39 became available, the location changed after the funding plan, and the funding plan had already shifted, and that made an already difficult process even harder for the public to follow and trust. But I do believe the school board should not have changed the funding mechanism from property tax to income tax without upfront communication and coordination with the city. If the schools are making decisions that affect growth, land, taxes, and the long-term future of New Philadelphia, then the city should have been part of that conversation much earlier. And if that did not happen, then I do believe the school board has to take responsibility for that. And since the school board is asking for more from this community, then this community is going to expect more. Better stewardship, better education, more transparency, more accountability, more communication, and a deeper commitment to preparing students to not just stay here, but to be able to go anywhere. Because the goal should never be to keep students here because they were not equipped to leave. The goal should be to prepare them so well that they can go anywhere and still choose to come back. I believe that is the kind of opportunity worth investing in, and that is the kind of New Philadelphia, the kind of future New Philadelphia should be building. So let me end where I need to be the clearest. My ask tonight is that the city endorses this plan. Like I said, not because it is perfect, because if this levy does not pass, all of New Philadelphia loses. More than anything, I believe our community needs to see that leadership is aligned. People need to feel confident that there is a unified vision for the future of New Philadelphia as a whole. I want New Philadelphia to be a place where families want to raise their children, where businesses want to invest, and where people choose not to just come from here, but to stay here, return here, and build here. This plan for the school is not the whole answer for the future, but it is a very important piece of it. And my true hope is that after tonight, after everything I've shared, regardless of the outcome of what you decide or how the ballot goes in May, these two groups, my hope is that these two groups begin working hand in hand because the future of New Philadelphia depends on it. I cannot change how these entities have operated in the past, but I beg and I implore the city and the schools to start working together in a real, intentional, consistent way because our community deserves that and because our dollars deserve that. This is my home. This is the place that shaped me. This is the place I chose to come back to. And this is the place that I want my children to have every reason to stay in, return to, and believe in. New Philadelphia deserves that kind of future. And I am asking you to help move it in that direction and build a community worth choosing by supporting the May 5th levy. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. A very compelling presentation, and I just applaud you for coming here to enlighten us and to urge us to support you. Any other questions of the mayor? That concludes my report.
Any questions from the mayor?
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming in. It is a very important election coming up. So, we'll move on. Next up is the service director, Mr. McAbeer.
Thank you, Mr. President. I know a few of us have alluded to the fact of the storm damage. We had over 70 trees that went down on Friday. Probably around 45 of them are picked up at this time. We've got some wet areas, like over by the lagoon there, that at the end of the day, we'll have to wait till it dries up. We'll get stuck and do more damage than we would do good by removing the trees. We've let the folks know that, but we'll continue to work on them daily as time permits. As you know, we're trying to patch also. So we're just playing that balancing act there. So we'll continue to work on that throughout time. A week and a half ago, we did open material bids up. Pleasantly surprised. The biggest increase on an average was 9.5% on most of our water supplies. You know, those have been in the 25% range. They come in at 9.5% over everything once I added it all up. So maybe we're seeing some leveling off there, which is my hope. As a matter of fact, in the wastewater bid for the polymer, it actually went down. We was at $1.75 per pound on that. It went down to $1.65 per pound. So again, that was good. Paving went up, I believe it was 3%. So I think, again, hopefully we're at that point where we're starting to level out. 10's still not good, but it's better than the 25s that we were seeing in the previous 5 to 6 years or 7 years we was getting. So that's good news. And then also, Matt Miller and I from Quickstone Associates walked the CDBG project for finalization today. And I know I've reported before, but I'll say it again. That's on Miller Avenue on the south side of Miller from Tufts to 10th Drive. New sidewalks and curbs going in there later this summer. So he'll be finalizing the plans. Once the money gets released, we'll be doing that job. The downtown quadrants, as most of you guys can see, the northwest quadrant's coming along rapidly. Their look ahead on the last meeting was they look to start having pavers installed in the next 2 weeks. I'm not so sure about that, but that's what they say. And then also, as you see, the House of Stones is the biggest part of the other work going on right now. They're actually saving the Gavin's quadrant for a later time that we'll get over there. They look to have that all stoned in the next couple weeks, pour that in, and again, then start pavers, so they can get pavers in both quadrants at the same time when they have that discipline of individuals there. Also, I know I reported last meeting on the rapid flashing beacons at Tuscarora and Second, and Tuscarora and North Broadway. As I reported before, the snafu there between the ordering, they have been ordered now, ordered about a week and a half ago after that meeting. So DL Smith has ordered them, and as reported last time, they still have that about 12-week return as far as to get in, which, you know, it wasn't there before, so I guess we're gonna wait 12 more weeks. But that's what we're gonna have to do, regardless of what we'd like to do. So, again, they have been ordered, and again, I'll give further reports probably in June, I would say, so when I got an actual nailed down date from DL Smith to get that done. And remember, that was funded by an ODOT SAFER grant. And I've been in contact with Mr. Hoffman down at ODOT, and he assured me the PO is there, and he will take care of that stuff. But just want to get a quick report. Any questions?
Any questions from,
I
yes, Mr. Ramos?
I know we ask about this every year, but potholes. Do people tell you about the potholes that they encounter and need to be filled
Typically,
out?
the general services, I probably only field probably 20% of them. Ray probably gets the other 80.
Okay, just let general services know
Right, sure.
where the potholes
It
need
just cuts out the
attention.
middleman.
Okay.
That's all it's
fine.
doing. Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Yes, Mr. Spade.
First of all, I just want to acknowledge this is our service director's 34th year in public service. And I want to thank you personally for
Thank you,
the work
Mark.
that you've done here. And like I said, it's a privilege for me to work with you, and I'm just amazed at how quick you are with the answers when I have an issue. And I just wanted to applaud that and recognize that this is your 34th year marking today. I know you probably don't want to be called out like that, and I
I know.
apologize for that. But and
But
then I did have,
Go ahead.
I did have one other thing that I wanted you to address, and that's because you're probably a better authority than I am to address it. As I've been advocating for the schools, one of the complaints that I constantly hear is, well, why are we wasting money on the 3 quadrants? There's a belief out there that that money is coming from the general fund of the city,
Yeah.
and the city's paying for that, and I know that's not the case. Could you explain to the public where those funds are coming from?
Yeah, that was government.
Appalachian Community Grant Program
That was all through 700 and something $1 million.
of ARPA money.
Exactly.
From the federal government that Governor DeWine decided to give 500 million of that, of the ARPA money that they received to Appalachia.
Okay.
So, he created the Appalachian Community Grant Program, with the intent to create what he termed transformational projects
Yeah.
in Appalachian communities.
That was the big buzzword.
Yeah.
Fortunate enough to get the $3 million. I think, Newcomerstown, 75,000. Only
Yeah.
other person in the county that got some, and they was just, all they did was
Yeah.
paint their downtown buildings.
Yeah.
So for us to get the 3 quadrants that we needed done, I understand we had to reduce some pavers, like I had said before, because, again, we was, to cut it down to about $200,000. But I still think, we'll be happy with the product that, produced at the end of the time. I'm really excited for everybody to see, the pavilion. It's pretty sharp. I know most of you guys have seen pictures of what it looks like, but, when it's actually there and being able to be downtown, and with that, with what the mayor's saying about that ARP money, that's why we keep looking at that deadline. all this federal money has to be
It
flushed
has
out.
to be spent
Right,
by October 31st. It's American Rescue Plan money.
yeah,
And if it's not spent by October 31st of this year, it gets clawed back to the federal government.
yes, so.
Yeah, I knew that's where it was. I just wanted to hear it from,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
so
you guys are
it's-
intimately familiar with
Yeah.
it. And that
And
the short answer is, that's coming from the federal government. That is not coming from New Philadelphia's coffers.
No.
And we played, he'll say I had a lot to do with it, but I played off the river,
You did have a lot to do with it.
but I played off the river with it because I saw like Marietta was doing that and everything, so I just tried to draw a correlation between the, Highway Canal was gonna end down at the river, the boat ramp on the river, and then all the fields on the river, what we might end up doing at the Howden property. And hey, every now and then, you know, blind squirrel gets a nut, so we're fortunate to have it, and I'm glad that we're getting
Yeah,
it
we
done.
got lumped in with projects that are along the Ohio River.
Yeah, exactly, we're not with anybody
Yeah.
around here at all. Dover went for it too, remember, Dover, Strasburg, all these.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey,
And we
I was
had
down
no
with,
plan.
I was down with everybody down south. I went with everybody down there, and hey, at the end of the day, it worked out. So, I'm happy with that.
Great. Thank you for clarifying that and for the work you did to get it here.
Yep, you're welcome. Anything else?
Okay, thank you, Mr. McAbey. Safety Director, oh. Safety, Mr. Milligan.
Thank you, Mr. President, council, colleagues, and guests. I'll keep mine short. For those who are tuning in to see my report out, I'll refer you to the earlier Finance Committee meeting where I used my time to report out that meeting, so I appreciate that conversation and opportunity. And I too want to echo Mr. McAbey. I had the opportunity to go out amongst the storm and try not to get in the way and help, and I watched the service department, the police department, fire department, when things like that happen in the city, all come together for the betterment of the city, so the coordination was glad to see it, glad to be part of it, glad to watch it work, and I commend all those that were out there responding in a timely, due diligent manner to keep the city operating, so thank you for that. And I have nothing else to report, I'll take any questions.
Any questions? All right, thank you, Mr. Milligan. Auditor, Mrs. Denham.
Thank you, Mr. President and everyone else. I just want to start out with this budget process has been particularly challenging with the revenues holding flat in several of the funds, while the expenses continue to rise. And it's important for our residents to know and to remember that we offer several services that many cities our size do not offer. We have our own municipal court, and we have our own airport and a dedicated health department. We're also fortunate to have an extensive park system that many cities do not have, not like what our city has. And the only revenue that comes from the park is the pool admissions and the rental on the pavilions. And these services, they all, we've worked hard to really keep those prices down, to keep it affordable for our families in town. And these services just strengthen our community and support our local quality of life and set us apart from the other cities. And we just must continue to work together as one unit to make responsible and well-informed decisions for our city. And then I'd also like to echo, I think it was Mrs. Pipes, that we should also work together with our school systems to benefit the school and our community, just to keep people here and wanting to come back home. And I just want to finish with our difficult budget decisions we've had. I'm hearing rumors of late payments and just other rumors. And I just want to let vendors or people out there know that once those payment requests have to go to the individual departments and go through all of the necessary workflows before they even come to my office to issue a check. Once they come into our workflows to issue a check, they're usually out the door within 1 to 3 business days. So hopefully those are just rumors, but if there are late payments out there, check with us, so the departments, maybe they haven't received their invoice. But that's all I have for tonight.
All right, any questions for the auditor? Thank you, Mrs. Denham. Treasurer, Ms. Kimball.
I have no report
report tonight, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. Law Director, Mr. Pete.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to take a moment, as I usually do, to acknowledge our two Philly students that are here. You heard an awful lot tonight about how hard everybody here is working for your future, and I know you're older and aren't necessarily going to benefit from some of those things, but I do hope you'll consider moving back here and becoming the leaders that we need in our future. I'm just going to comment briefly on my budget, because I wasn't specifically asked about it. I submitted my budget last fall, and then this past week, I was asked to see if we can cut more from it. And I proposed 22,000, we rolled up our sleeves and really got to work. I spent 4 hours with Heather this past Monday, and we rolled up our sleeves, really got to work. I proposed $22,000 in budget cuts from my offices, 7,000 from the law director's office, the remainder from the prosecutor's office. Now, we're not a big office. We don't have the funds that others have, so that's a significant amount from us. Mr. Sears had asked me when I proposed my budget and was telling him why I wanted to compensate people the way I wanted to compensate them, if there was any way to generate more money there. And I told him, boy, I wish that I could charge every criminal case that we handle. I wish I could charge every one of those convicted criminals to pay us a fee for the work that Chief Prohevy's people put into it, for the work that Sheriff Campbell's people put into it, and for the work that our Highway Patrol puts into it, and for the work that we put into it. But unfortunately, legally, I don't have the authority to do that, so we're not an area that generates money. But I can tell you an area that I have brought money into. As many of you are aware, and some of you were on council when we did this, and I appreciate what the council did. I created the first victim advocate program here in New Philadelphia. The municipal court's been here since the 1970s, and has never had a crime victim advocate. A crime victim advocate is somebody who speaks on behalf of the crime victims in our area. When I started the program, that was before Marcy's Law went into effect. Marcy's Law essentially codified that, where now crime victims have actual constitutional rights in the state of Ohio. So now that program's become very, very important, because it's something we're kind of mandated to do in that regard. And to that end, with regards to the crime victim advocate, I managed to bring in almost $40,000, $39,209.63 for that program. $33,209.63 came from the grant that I applied for from the state. The remainder, another, let's see, 7,000 came in from contracts that we negotiated for the victim advocate to help out communities that don't have a victim advocate, and which I thought was a good use of our time and resources in order to generate more funds for here. And then a total of $6,641.93 did come directly from convicted criminals. These are the people that pay for, they've been convicted of a crime, and they've been sentenced to community service, and they're given an opportunity to pay that money rather than actually do the community service. And that money comes from an ordinance that was done in 2018 that I did to get some of that money to come back and go towards the victim advocate, which is something I thought was very smart, to have actual criminals pay for the crime victim advocate. And I did put forward a proposal, I think, 2024, to consider being able to bring more of that in. And if council ever wants to address that with me, I'd be happy to meet with you and talk to you about that. We would have to include the judge on that as well. But there is that opportunity. But I did want to say that we have brought in $39,209.63, and a significant portion of that's coming from actual convicted criminals, which I think is wonderful. And I think that's how it should be. If it was up to me, they'd pay for all of it. So if you have any questions about any of that, most of my time over the past week was devoted to that and the federal case that I briefed council on previously, which could, as I told you, it could cost the city a lot of money, so that's been preoccupying an inordinate amount of my time. If you have any questions, though, I'd be happy to answer them and take anything you'd like to ask me specifically.
Any questions? All right, thanks, Mark. All right, move on to our board commissioner reports. Planning Commission, Mayor Day.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Planning Commission will be meeting on April 14th, 1 PM here in council chamber. One thing we have on our agenda so far is discussion of a new housing development off of Goshen Avenue on the south side.
Right, Board of Zoning Appeals, Mr. McAbeer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Board of Zoning and Appeals is scheduled to meet April 14th here in council chambers at 5 PM.
All right. Airport Commissioner, Mr. Alonso.
Thank you, Mr. President. Due to lack of quorum at the last regularly scheduled meeting, we rescheduled to have our meeting tomorrow evening at 6 PM at the Harry Cleaver Field Airport Meeting Room.
All right. Park Board, Mr. Sears.
Thank you, Mr. President. I know the mayor had it in his report, but I assume he cut it short because of the school folks coming. I just wanted to mention for the public and for record about the home opener, Saturday the 28th for the new baseball stadium. You know, it's an interesting dynamic, I guess, and because I've been to other schools and I've been to other facilities, you know, the arrangement we have, I think, with the school and the city, you know, working together with the baseball field, it's great because anybody who's at the park and wants to walk over and catch a baseball game can do it for free, right? But the downside of that is there's no money generated to do anything, right? There's no money generated by ticket sales to do upgrades and things of that nature. So just so many people and organizations, I'm not even gonna, you know, list them all because there's been so many generous people in this community that have volunteered, not only, you know, financially, but also just their time and effort in coordinating, you know, trying to get that up and running and trying to get it something nice that, you know, it's certainly, it's not keeping up with anybody, it's not trying to keep up with the Joneses, which I hear so much about things that we try to do. It's about having a nice facility that the kids can be proud of. Kids can be proud of and the community can be proud of. So, if anybody's not doing anything Saturday and wants to catch a game, I think it's supposed to be nice. And then, the other thing I will say too, because I know the auditor touched on it, we did have a discussion at the park board to look at rates. I think rates have been, my understanding, I think somebody said they've been set where they're at for some time. Needless to say, the costs of everything has went up. Insurance, paying lifeguards, you know, chemicals to treat the pool. So we spoke with Adam Fulton, he is going to go back and look. The idea is not to make money. The idea is to cover our costs as much as we can. And I think that's with the discussions tonight and everything going on. I think that's important. So with that, if you have any questions, let me know.
About the new playground.
Yes, also, if you've been by, you'll see they tore out the old park by the mini golf, I guess, probably the best way to describe it. And again, a group of very generous and people who have spent time and money. I think they're raising close to $800,000 for that, to make an all-inclusive playground for kids with disabilities and people who can't use the other facilities. So I think, I don't want to misspeak, that'll be ready soon, right?
The plan is to have it completed by Memorial Day.
Yeah, so yeah, coming up soon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Any questions?
If I could add to that,
Yes,
Mr.
Mr.
President.
McAbeer.
I urge everyone, Mr. Ricklick and I, and again, it's my fault, I hadn't been out there as far as to take a physical look at it for about the last 6 weeks, but I wanted to meet with Kelly and go over everything. The field, the new bleachers, the area for the media, everything that's done out there, and turned out great. It's a tremendous field, just what they have now. It's only gonna get better. If a lot of you have been out to see it now, it's gotta go up another 5 rows.
Mhm.
And then there's one section beside the main entrance, always come in, be restrooms there. So there's much more to do out there, just besides the turf that everybody talks about. But I urge each and every one of you to go out there and see that, just to see what's happening. And then also, urge everybody to go out there Saturday at 11:30, because there'll be a field dedication and a stadium dedication at that same time. Tons of alumni, tons of players, and urge everyone that could possibly make it, try to make it, because it's gonna be something to
Yeah.
see, especially with all the old alumni there. It's always great to see some of the old alumni and some of those folks, but urge everybody to try to stop out Saturday.
In its own way, it's a historic event.
Yeah.
Yes.
It really is.
But I, again, please go out. It's
Yeah.
tremendous.
And-
I was
and-
surprised, like, again, I haven't been, and it's my own fault, but I actually got to get in, and then I wanted to look around at everything, and it's coming along very nice, very nice.
Baseball Now and Forever, by the way, they have the scoreboard that they purchased. They're selling ads on that scoreboard, and some of the proceeds from those ads will come back to the city for field maintenance.
Right. Right.
All right,
Thank you, Mr. President.
you're welcome. All right, Health Board, Mr. Simmelink.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Health Board, I have no report other than the Health Board will be meeting April 9th at noon in this building. The Health Commissioner is wrapping up their annual report on activities, and she's gonna come here and present it
Okay.
at one of our meetings.
All right. Move on to our council committee reports. First up, Finance, Mr. Rupert.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Finance Committee met tonight here in council chambers at 6:30 to move forward with the ordinance 5, 2026. I'll use the right number this time, for our permanent appropriations. After much discussion and work, we've decided to place that on tonight's agenda, and we will ask for a suspension of the rules. We adjourned at 7:13.
Thank you. Public Works and Economic Development, Mr. Lonzo.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report this evening.
All right. Safety, Health, and Service, Mr. Simmelink.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report tonight.
Zone and Annexation, Mr. Ramos.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee met tonight to discuss an honorary sign recognizing the New Philadelphia VFW Post 1445 100th anniversary, and we are going to do that. But we need to just flesh out what the sign is going to say, and so we're going to meet again at April 13th at 7:15, and we will have the appropriate legislation at that time.
All right, thank you. Salary, Mr. Granville.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report.
Cemetery, Mr. Sears.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report.
Special Contact, Mr. Walker.
Thank you, Mr. President. Special Contact Committee met this evening at 6 PM with 2 items on the agenda, both liquor license related. We voted to put those on tonight during my committee report for voice votes with full council. So we will do that now. A yes means no. So the first one we have is Bell Stores Incorporated, Bell Store 1176 drive-through. They purchased the South Side drive-through, so this is a liquor license transfer. We need to vote to let this go through, that we have no issues with it. So a yes vote means no, we don't have any issues.
Mr. Crime,
Yes, roll call.
Mr. Crimebell,
Yes.
Mr. Lanzer,
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos,
Yes.
Mr. Ribbit,
Yes.
Mr. Sears,
Yes.
Mr. Simmelink,
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes. And then the second one is a new liquor license, Waller Bees LLC, Toasted on the Square, Mr. McAbeer and the mayor were kind enough to kind of fill us in on that new business that is coming in at 101 West High Avenue. So we're very excited for that. Again, we presented that to council with no objections, so we need to vote on that one also.
All right, roll, vote, yes.
Mr. Krybel?
Yes.
Mr. Lonzer?
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos?
Abstain.
Mr. Rippeth?
Yes.
Mr. Sears?
Yes.
Mr. Simmelink?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
All right,
And then the last thing I have is also the two New Philadelphia students were part of New Philadelphia High School's spring musical this past weekend, along with my son and some other extremely talented kids. They put on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night an absolutely amazing show of Alice by Heart. Fantastic job by them, so congratulations. And my report, we adjourned at 6:05.
thank you, Mr. Walker. All right, visitors' comments. The floor is now open for visitors' comments. Anyone wishing to address council should rise, state your name and address, and address all comments to the chair. You will have 5 minutes. All right, hearing none. Council comments. Any comments from council tonight? Yes.
I just want to thank all the department heads again for working through this tough time with the budget. And I forgot to thank them earlier, but all the department heads had a lot of work in that as well. I thanked everybody else but them, so I just wanted to make sure I thank them too. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Granville. Also, we need to congratulate you, Mr. McAbeer, in his 34 years
Yes.
of service. So, Mr.
Yeah.
Ribbeth,
He came in the canoe with John Nisley.
I thought he come with Rod Miller.
Yeah.
Put the brick roads in.
Yeah. And like I said to the mayor, I started on the garbage truck and I thought I won the lottery. I loved that job. I really did. I got to speak with a great gentleman that's still living today, and I still talk to him today, that I worked with 8 hours every day for 3 years. And just a great human. And a lot of you guys know Butch Turney, he was our driver. And again, I thought I hit the lottery. I showed up that day, it was 73 degrees, I wore t-shirt, blue jeans, and some work boots, and I thought, boy, there ain't no better than this. And so,
Life is good.
yeah, life was good, and like I say, to progress to this is a true blessing, and I couldn't be happier, and I love this job also.
All
So
right.
thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Ribbeth,
Yeah, I just, Chris kind of stole Councilman Kreinbell kind of stole my thunder. I did want to just express my gratitude for the hours and hours of hard work that the auditor, both the service director, safety director, the mayor, and all the department heads put in. It's not easy when you're in the situation we're in, and I do appreciate all the sacrifices they make for this city, so thank you.
yes, ditto, yes. Or anyone else? Legislative, Mrs. Courtright, Miss Courtright.
Correct. Ordinance number 3, 2026, an ordinance to allocate funds collected under the City of New Philadelphia income tax ordinance for the 2026 fiscal year and declaring an emergency. First reading.
The action taken by council on this ordinance tonight.
Yes, Mr. President, I would move that we suspend the rules and vote on this tonight.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Granville. In discussion by administration, council, roll call.
Mr. Rippeth.
Yes.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Yes.
Mr. Lonzer.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
Mr. Simmelink.
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
All right, the rules have been suspended. Mr. Ribbeth,
I would move that we pass this legislation tonight.
do I have a second? Thank you, Mr. Granville. In discussion by the community, administration, council, roll call.
Mr. Rippeth.
Yes.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Yes.
Mr. Lonzer.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
Mr. Simmelink.
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
All right, order 3, 2026 has passed.
Ordinance number 5, 2026, an ordinance to make appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of New Philadelphia, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2026, and declaring an emergency. First reading.
So we have to take it by council on this ordinance tonight.
Well, since you're
Mr.
looking at
Rubin.
me, yes, Mr. President, I move that we suspend the rules and vote on this tonight.
I'll second that.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lunzer. And discussion by administration, council, roll call.
Mr. Rippeth.
Yes.
Mr. Lonzer.
Yes.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
Mr. Simile.
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Ribbeth.
Once again, I would move that we pass ordinance 5, 2026 this evening.
And the second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Lunzer. In discussion by the community, administration, council, roll call.
Mr. Rippeth.
Yes.
Mr. Lonzer.
Yes.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
Mr. Simile.
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Right, ordinance 5, 2026 has passed.
That concludes legislation for this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Courtwright. Is there any unfinished old business? And new business? Mr. Lonzer,
Motion adjourned.
we are adjourned at 8:45.
We be adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.
It's already over.